Dylan, I'd be remiss to say, but what does it feel like to just be back out on the field and then seeing that first pitch, you like it, and you're able to drive it?
I mean, it's a blessing to be back. I'm glad I've gotten the opportunity to get back in the lineup. And, Tad always preaches be where your feet are and move on the right pitch. And I just saw it coming over the middle and took a move on it.
If you have a follow-up, Carlos, go ahead.
Going on that, Dylan, I guess for you, how was your mindset going into this game? Did you feel like you'd have a fastball that you'd see that really kind of did that? And what were your emotions after just kind of being able to get back, especially after that long journey?
For sure, I was definitely sitting on a heater, but he kind of flipped in a hanging slider, and it looked too good to be true, and took a move on it, and it felt good to get my first career homer here at home. So it was awesome.
Go ahead, Carlos.
Dylan, obviously, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. I guess in terms of the journey, I guess how has it been? When did you know that you were going to be out? And I guess when did you know you were going to come back? And how refreshing is it to actually see, like you said, all the work you put in to kind of be in positive results now?
I guess it was early October. I knew I got the MRI results back that I did have a tear in my shoulder, and it was later that month. I went home and got it repaired and came back, and I was really shooting for the end of this month to get back. I think some people thought it was going to be early April, and I just got to give everything to Brian Simpson, our trainer, and Tori for really working with me and staying through Meister's program. I guess got to give it to them.
Okay, we'll go to Brandon.
Yeah, just wondering about that outfield catch. If you can take us through what happened, what you kind of saw, and kind of what y'all talked about after that play.
It was driven pretty well in the gap, and you could tell me and Noisy had a little miscommunication with. I called ball pretty late, and he thought I was giving him the wall call, but I'm just glad one of us came down with it, and everybody's okay.
Okay, we'll go to Phil and then back to Carlos.
Yeah, Dylan, with yourself back and with the production that you guys had today, what did it feel like to be a part of this Texas Tech lineup that has so many dangerous hitters in it?
Like I said earlier, it's really just a blessing. I got to give it up to the Lord for allowing me and my body to heal correctly, and just to give myself the chance to get back in the lineup.
But Dylan, I guess just from your perspective, I know you talked about the journey and being able to kind of work with the athletic trainers and kind of getting yourself back. When did you kind of feel like you were a little bit normal, so to speak, in terms of baseball? And when did you realize, okay, I can get back a little bit sooner than maybe you thought?
I guess it was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago when I started swinging my real bat and started moving on moving balls and front toss, and everything felt really good. But I was always talking to Brian. I'm like, hey, can we push it? Can we push it? And he's like, man, you don't want to come back too early. And I got to thank him for that, because my determination, I was like, I'm ready to go. But he was like, hey, last thing you want to do is get back out there and re-tear something. I'm just glad that I got people like him behind me and really working with me throughout the whole thing. It's good stuff.
Carlos, did you have a follow-up, or did I not take your hand down?
Yeah, just one more from me. Last one from me, Dylan. I know I've been asking you about this, but I'm just curious. I guess just when did you know that you kind of hurt yourself, and when did it happen? Because I know you were out for all of fall ball, which had to be tough for you, but the fact that you came back and you kind of succeeded, what does that kind of say about your mentality in terms of just being able to get back and play well?
I knew right away when I did it. It was October 3rd, and I was doing my pre-practice routine in the cages and took a swing, and I knew something was off, and then went out to practice, and it just something wasn't right the whole practice. So I went and talked to Brian, and the journey, it was tough, but like I said, my teammates were always behind me, training staff, coaching staff. I guess really just the family environment here is really what helped me come back and be as strong as I am.
And I'm going to kind of stick with Dylan just because of the performance he had, but just seeing him hit that 2-run homer, especially after you guys kind of saw him do all the work to get back here. I guess what was that like to kind of watch?
I was super happy for Dylan. You know, he fired us all up, and I have so much confidence in Dylan. You know, I love him on the team. I love him in the outfield. I was happy for him to come back, but for him to do that in his first at bat on, you know, the first pitch he saw, that was awesome.
Carlos, you can go ahead if you have another one.
Brandon, I guess just in terms of giving up that first single, what did you feel? Kind of did you feel like that got you right after that, or that kind of got the shakes out, if you will, and then you kind of felt like you locked in after that in your mound performance?
And there was no shakes. I mean, first pitch fastball, he's sitting on fastball, and I threw a strike, and that's what you want to do as a pitcher. First pitch of the game, you want to establish the strike zone and throw a strike. Did what it did. He sat fastball and turned on it.
So I guess in terms of the response you had to that, to retiring the next, I want to say 6 batters, I guess what did you kind of learn from that? And was it just as simple as just kind of hitting your spots at that point?
I mean, in this game, you have to be so mentally tough, so you can't let little things like that bother you. In that moment, it was just about, you know, like you said, just executing pitches, sticking with the game plan, and that's what I did. You know, went out there and trusted my stuff and just, you know, try to throw the ball where Coach Gardner wanted me to do it, and turned out for the best.
Okay, we'll go to Phil.
And Brennan, you've now had only 1 earned run in your last 3 starts. Do you feel like as the season goes along, you're sort of pitching yourself into a groove a bit?
Yeah. I mean, it was the same last year when I was at my junior college. I didn't start out the best, but as the year went on, I mean, as the year goes on, you get better and better. The more you get out on the mound, the better you get, the more you understand what you have to work on, you know, in between outings. And today I feel like was another step. Last weekend, you know, I threw well, but my slider wasn't as good. And so this week, slider was on, curveball was on, and I also threw a couple of changeups that were really good. So yeah, it's just progressively getting better each week.
Well, I guess, Coach, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, just watching his journey in terms of getting injured and coming back, what was it like for you to kind of see Dylan really perform well, get a big swing on that first pitch that he saw today?
Yeah, it was, I'm sure it was very rewarding for all of us. It has been a long journey. By no means I don't think that's his game. I mean, I don't think he's going to go hit a bunch of balls out of the ballpark, but he got a pitch in an area where he can drive it, and it was good to see.
We'll go to Bishop.
Hey, Coach, you know, Woodcock's hit his first 2 home runs of his career in the same inning. Just what's it like to see something like that out of one of your players, and how proud of him are you, and what do you credit that performance for or by?
You know, he's a kid that's always been able to swing the bat. I didn't even know both those were in the same inning until you just said it. Hadn't even really even thought about it. The first swing kind of got us going a little bit in the inning and probably shocked their guy a little bit. The second swing was off a really good reliever. Guy was, you know, that's the first guy he saw. And really proud of that at bat. That was a really good at bat. He laid off at least one tough pitch and got himself in a count, and guy made a mistake in the middle of the plate. And he's a kid that's, again, he's always hit.
We'll go to Phil.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that 4-man outfield they ran against Jace. Have you seen that before? Or I guess kind of what are your thoughts on that strategy?
Yeah, we've seen it. I mean, we haven't seen it in college baseball. We've all seen it in the major leagues. There's a few teams that have done it. It didn't look like a bad strategy other than Jace hits the ball foul line to foul line. And it was interesting. Isn't it interesting that he hit it right at the guy? And before that, I think the guy was playing the bunt. He was kind of over and in, and they got 2 strikes and moved up the middle. And to each his own. I mean, if that's what they want to do, they can do it.
Go back to Bishop. Sorry about
My
that.
bad. I didn't mean to have my hand up.
Okay, anything else for Coach Tadlock? All right, thanks, Coach.
Yeah. I've got one more. I wanted to. So you with the big lead, you were able to get a few guys in from your bench, get them a couple at bats. Is that something that sort of you like to do at the beginning of the series to get a few guys up and down the roster, some at bats, and maybe get them a little more comfortable for the next two games?
Oh, I mean, anytime you can run a guy up there and allow them to, kind of explore and see the baseball and, in a game setting, not an inter squad setting, that's always good to kind of get the feedback of whatever the feedback is from that bat. It always helps.